Nobody tells you the truth about budget shotguns. They're hiding something. The gun industry wants you to believe one lie: spend big or go home. Yet we have tested $250 shotguns that easily outperform $1,200 competition models on the range with live tactical rounds. Our top choice costs less than a monthly subscription, yet duty agencies trust it with lives. And one shotgun here shares its internal design with a $3,000 tactical platform. The real difference? Pure branding. These are the top 10 budget shotguns that never feel cheap in hand. Before you spend too much, watch closely. Number 10. Kel-Tech KS7. What if we told you engineers looked at traditional shotguns and decided to build them completely backwards? The Kel-Tech KS7 is a bullpup pump action measuring 26.1 inches with an 18.5-inch barrel. That is shorter than standard home defense shotguns by half a foot. This matters because doorways and vehicle interiors and tight corners do not care about your long muzzle. A downward ejection design drops spent shells straight down, making it fully ambidextrous without extra modifications. It weighs just 5.9 pounds unloaded, with a 6+1 capacity and 12 gauge. The reinforced polymer frame survives harsh drop tests that would shatter traditional woodstock shotguns. At $495 to $545, you pay for tactical engineering that solves modern problems instead of copying 1950s patterns. The Kel-Tech handling demands training. The forward AR-style pump and high carry handle make it look completely unique. That is either a major advantage or a deal-breaker for truck and boat defense, or anywhere space equals survival, because nothing packs this much firepower into such a small package. Let us contrast that compact philosophy, though, because sometimes you just need traditional reliability that has been proving its worth since your grandfather's day. Number 9. The Stevens 320 Tactical is no ordinary budget gun. It is a brutal stress test of how low prices can drop before quality disappears. The answer is not this low. The Stevens features an 18.5-inch barrel and ghost ring sights, along with a 5+1 capacity running standard and heavy 3-inch shells without complaint. Savage Arms owns Stevens, meaning you get premium manufacturing quality control filtered down directly to this budget line. The rotary bolt locks up tight, and dual slide bars keep the stroke incredibly smooth. At 7 pounds, it absorbs 12-gauge recoil better than lightweight models that bruise your shoulder. Let us discuss value. $249. That is one tank of premium fuel, or a family dinner, for a functional home defense weapon that runs buckshot and slugs all day. Field reports show these running over 5,000 rounds before needing any replacement parts. No, it will not win any beauty contests. The finish is basic. The polymer furniture is simple. But here is what matters. When you rack it at 2 in the morning at Chambers, every single time. At under $250, it is the best solution for home security. But what happens when you add another $150 to the budget? The jump in capability is absolutely shocking. Number 8. The Benelli Nova. Remember that old saying about getting exactly what you pay for? Well, the Benelli Nova is the ultimate exception to that rule. Benelli's famous inertia system usually drives their $2,000 competition platforms. The Nova skips that. It is a pump action, but here is the real secret. A steel skeleton overmolded with polymer creates a single-piece receiver stock that is basically impossible to crack at the tang. That is the exact failure point that destroys cheap guns. Benelli simply engineered it out of existence. The 28-inch barrel model, also sold in 24 and 26 inches, easily runs 3.5-inch Magnum waterfowl shells that would shake cheap guns to pieces. At 8 pounds, it has the perfect weight to absorb recoil that destroys lighter platforms. For $450, you get elite Italian design without paying the premium. Marsh hunters who pull all-day shifts in saltwater trust this tool because the polymer exterior cannot rust or corrode. You can literally drag it through swamp mud and just clean it with a hose. Try that with traditional blued steel. Their Comfort Tech system uses integrated gel pads to slash felt recoil by up to 50% compared to standard stocks. That is not marketing hype. That is measurable recoil reduction. Absolutely nothing else at $450 survives harsh elements while delivering pure Benelli performance. But if pump action is not your speed and you want semi-auto power on a budget, listen closely. Number 7. The Stoeger M3000. Can a cheap semi-automatic run reliably? The internet says absolutely not. But this platform begs to differ. Stoeger is owned by Benelli under the same parent company. The M3000 runs on Benelli's famous inertia-driven recoil system, the same design powering the $1,800 M2 and the $2,500 M4. The only difference is simpler machining. Functionally, the gun is almost completely identical. That 28-inch barrel, with a 4+1 capacity, also comes in 24 and 26 inches. It cycles standard target loads right up to heavy 3-inch magnums, with 0 manual adjustments and no gas system to clean. No piston to foul. Recoil drives the bolt. Physics does the job. And it only costs $600 to $700. You get Italian engineering combined with highly efficient Turkish production. Competitive 3-gun shooters are grabbing Mies because at 7.3 pounds, it swings extremely fast between targets. And the inertia system cycles much faster than typical gas-operated rivals. Once you learn how to handle the distinct recoil, shoulder it firmly. That is not a bug. That is how inertia operates. Hold it loosely, and it will short stroke. Shoot it right, and it is a workhorse. The chrome-lined barrel handles corrosive surplus ammo that would destroy other guns. For hunters running steel shot in freezing weather, that durability is absolutely non-negotiable. At $600, you're buying premium Benelli design without paying for the famous badge. Honestly, that is a massive value gap that you simply cannot ignore. But hold on, because our next pick takes that proud Italian legacy and delivers a huge twist. Number 6. The Beretta A300 Ultima. Everyone says cheap semi-automatics cannot handle real abuse. This shotgun completely disproves that. It is a gas-operated platform built right on Beretta's race-proven receiver, upgraded with their elite B-Link gas system. It self-regulates from light target loads all the way to heavy 3-inch waterfowl magnums with 0 adjustments. No gas rings, no special tuning. Just load it and run. A choice of 28, 26, or 30-inch barrels, combined with an adjustable comb, means this weapon molds directly to your frame, stopping physical fatigue before it even starts. Weighing just 7.1 pounds and carrying a 3+1 capacity, balance remains perfect, even during endless days in the harsh elements. Priced between $880 and $899, real value shows up in pure endurance. Hard data proves this beast survives 25,000 rounds with nothing but basic spring swaps. That is a staggering tier of reliability most other semi-autos will never touch. Competitive shooters burn through 500 shells a weekend, a heat level that melts lesser guns. But the blink system keeps hammering. Oversized controls, specifically the massive bolt release, safety, and charging handle, are optimized for freezing, rain-soaked hands in heavy gloves. That is not about luxury. That is tactical survival. You're not just paying for a famous Italian logo. You are investing in peak mechanical engineering. But if you want blistering semi-automatic power for under $800, this next option rewrites the rules. Number 5. The Winchester SX4. Winchester does not shout about it, but they built a secret weapon into this platform that completely shatters typical semi-auto limits. At its heart sits an active valve gas system engineered to cycle 36% faster than prior models. That is actual mechanical velocity, not cheap marketing hype. It translates directly to lightning-fast follow-ups and incredibly smooth cycling under intense stress. This tactical machine is built specifically for atrocious conditions. A massive trigger guard, giant charging handle, and rough grip textures ensure flawless operation, even with frozen hands, thick gloves, or slick mud. Weighing a mere 6.75 pounds with its 28-inch barrel, it feels light during exhausting days in the brush, yet has enough heft to tame brutal magnum recoil. Plus, 24 and 26-inch setups are available for specialized missions. Holding a 4+1 capacity, it swallows punishing 3.5-inch magnum loads without flinching. The exact heavy rounds needed to drop high-altitude targets, where raw kinetic energy is non-negotiable. Recoil is heavily suppressed by the Winchester Advanced Inflex Technology Pad, which redirects harsh force using clever geometry instead of basic soft foam. High-level competitors trading up from vastly more expensive rigs clock significantly faster splits. And field reports show a microscopic malfunction rate that puts elite brands to shame. For anyone demanding blistering semi-auto speed combined with heavy payload performance, all for well under $850. The SX4 does not just compete, it entirely redefines value. Keep that high-velocity cycling in mind, because our next entry achieves peak performance through a totally different mechanism. Number 4. MAC 1014. What happens when a Turkish factory meticulously clones a legendary Italian military shotgun and sells it for pennies on the dollar? You get the MAC 1014. This tactical machine runs on a gas piston system, directly cloned from the iconic Benelli M4. An 18.5-inch barrel paired with ghost ring sights, a rugged pistol grip, and 5+1 capacity prove this is a CQB weapon, not a bird gun. Weighing 7.8 pounds, it packs the perfect heft to tame muzzle rise when rapid fire counts. For $350 to $500, this is a total market upset. But let us be real. This is no Benelli. Fit and finish will not match high-end Italian craftsmanship. However, real-world abuse testing shows this platform swallowing over 1,000 high-pressure defensive rounds without a single critical malfunction. Springs will wear down faster and the finish will scratch, but the core weapon works. That reliability is exactly why cash-strapped tactical police units trust these in their cruiser racks. If your choice is a cheap shotgun or absolutely nothing, the MAC 1014 gets it done. AR-style controls make it super intuitive for rifle shooters, which is huge in modern tactical roles. For home defense or vehicle duty, where function always beats a fancy finish, paying $350 to $500 gets you crazy capability that shouldn't even exist here. Let's keep moving because these next shotguns are absolute budget legends. Number 3. Mossberg 500. This isn't just some shotgun. It's a real test of what enough actually means. This platform has been in non-stop production since 1961, putting over 11 million units into the hands of soldiers, cops, and citizens worldwide. The military even adopted specific variants for combat and training roles that lasted for decades. That level of longevity only happens when a design actually works. The tactical 18.5-inch barrel model, also sold up to 28 inches, runs dual action bars, completely stopping the binding and flex that ruins single-bar pumps. That top-mounted ambidextrous safety is way faster and more intuitive than any crossbolt under high stress. Weighing 6.75 pounds with a 5+1 capacity, it handles fast without absolutely destroying your shoulder on recoil. For around $696, this remains the benchmark every pump action gets measured against. Plus, the aftermarket is massive. Stocks, barrels, sights, and extensions. This entire platform perfectly molds to how you run your gun. Competitors, home defenders, and hunters all run this weapon for one simple reason. It just works everywhere. Military tests prove a well-maintained 500 can push past 50,000 rounds before needing new parts. Its lightweight aluminum receiver keeps fatigue low during those endless hours of carrying. This is the exact shotgun you buy once and trust for life. But hold on, because this next shotgun delivers that legendary Mossberg DNA at a price point that honestly makes zero sense. Number 2. The Mossberg Maverick 88. Now, very few shooters actually realize this, but the Maverick 88 actually shares the exact same receiver design as the 500. Same factory, same rugged engineering, and the exact same reputation for reliability. The savings come from cosmetic extras, not how this thing actually runs. The safety sits on the trigger guard rather than the top tang, and they simplify the action bars. You get a basic matte black finish, and the forend is entirely fixed instead of modular. But at its core, you are getting that exact same powerhouse DNA. The 18.5-inch barrel, with longer 28-inch options, easily cycles 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells, holding a solid 6+1 capacity. That crossbolt safety works great and has been proven by millions. Sitting around 7 pounds, that extra weight actually helps soak up recoil, which is great for beginners. Priced from $200 to $269, this is easily the absolute best value pump gun on Earth, period. That is precisely why first-time buyers and rural property owners and budget-minded families keep this tool at the very top of sales charts. Take basic care of it, and it easily clears 10,000 rounds, far more than most will ever shoot. Instructors recommend it for one simple reason. Raw reliability always beats fancy features. When it counts, the Maverick 88 runs perfectly at this price point. Nothing else delivers this level of reliability with such high accessibility. This is absolutely not a compromise. It is just a highly tactical decision. You might think nothing beats this, but our final pick proves otherwise. Number 1. Remington 870. Stop throwing cash at overhyped tactical gear. You need to hear this first. The Remington 870 stands as the most produced pump action in history. 12 million units since 1951. That is not clever marketing. That is pure adoption by elite soldiers, police, and hunters. Competitive shooters and home defenders alike have trusted this beast for over 7 decades. It simply works. Dual steel action bars deliver a pump cycle so incredibly smooth, it set the industry standard. From the compact 18.5-inch tactical build up to 30-inch hunting barrels, it devours standard and heavy 3-inch shells. Capacity sits at 4+1, or 6 with an extension. Weighing 7.5 pounds, it packs enough heft to soak up brutal magnum recoil without crushing your shoulder. For $400 to $480, you are not buying budget. You are buying legacy. That solid steel receiver changes everything. Aluminum cuts weight. Steel survives generations. The rotary bolt and rugged extractors ensure positive ejection, whether freezing in Arctic snow or sweating in jungle heat. In tough urban environments, this weapon is proven. Police tactical teams run this weapon because it transitions instantly from less lethal rounds to duty ammunition without choking. Ammo tolerance matters most when lives are at stake. The aftermarket support is absolutely limitless, and recent remarms production has returned quality control to historic standards. This is not some cheap entry-level shotgun. It is the benchmark. And that is exactly why the Remington 870 claims our top spot. These 10 weapons prove a critical point. Budget never means compromise when builders put raw performance over cheap cosmetic flash. Which beast surprised you most? Sound off in the comments below. If you have pumped thousands of rounds through any of these, we want to hear your real-world experience. Here is the ultimate truth. Heavy price tags do not win gunfights. Dead on reliability, perfect fit, and mastering your weapon. That is what saves you when it counts. Smart shooters who understand this are packing their gun safes with these high-value workhorses, while others waste thousands on glorified wall art. Next up, we are breaking down the best budget rifle optics under $200 that survive absolute hell. Subscribe right now to catch that breakdown, because we are just heating up.